If you're looking for one of the loudest systems out there for your 2018 and newer GT that also just so happens to include an H-pipe design, then the AWE Track Catback might just be the system for you. Now the Track will totally eliminate any mufflers from the equation, allowing for maximum volume and delivering premium materials in the process for right around that $1,500 price tag. Install will not involve any cutting or permanent modification, so let's go 2 out of 3 wrenches, a soft 2 at that on the difficulty meter, with a detailed walkthrough to come later in the video. So AWE's time in the domestic market might not be as long as some other brands in the category, but that doesn't mean they are new to what they do. In fact, AWE has been making some pretty killer systems for high-end European stuff for nearly 20 years now, so they've had plenty of time to hone in on their skills before embarking on the S550 systems back in 2015. Now the Track system that we are talking about today is the more aggressive of the two offerings from the Pennsylvania-based company, the other being the slightly milder Touring system. And the big difference between the two is pretty simple. The Touring is going to feature a couple of mufflers, the Track, as you can see, does not. Now this does feature a couple of bullet style resonators, as you can see right there, but essentially this thing is a straight pipe system from tip to tip with the beautiful 4-inch tips here on the end. So expect things to be very, very loud. In fact, going to my highly scientific and patented Wake the Neighbor scale, I've got the Track system coming in with some of the loudest in the category at a robust 5 out of 5 on the 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. The Track is a loud system, no doubt, but I will say the inclusion of the resonators here and the H-pipe do manage to keep things from being overly distorted or overly raspy. And what do you say we talk about that H-pipe a little bit more here, because a majority of your options in the category are going to utilize a variation of an X-pipe, which traditionally will accentuate the rasp on the Coyote even further, which some folks might like, others not so much. Now the H-pipe is going to help tone down some of that rasp when compared to some of your other systems, give you a slightly deeper tone overall, and I will say you're still getting a little bit more rasp here with the Track because of the lack of mufflers, but overall still not that bad when compared to some of your other category screamers. Now because the Track does not possess any mufflers whatsoever, don't expect AWE's patented drone canceling 180 technology, so things again will be a little bit louder inside the car while cruising, something to be aware of there. Now that pretty much covers the sound, but what do you say we get into the construction of the Track system? And as I mentioned earlier guys, you are going to find nothing but the best from AWE. Now that includes the US source T304 L grade stainless steel, which is used for the 3-inch mandrel-bent tubing throughout, the twin bullet style resonators, and finally exiting out of the dual-walled 4-inch tips, done up very well in that black diamond finish. Now this system of course does feature the 2018 and up quad tip configuration and is aimed at the non-active exhaust cars. However, that being said, if you do happen to have an active exhaust car, this system will bolt right up. You would just need to grab AWE's valve motor bracket to eliminate the possibility of any check engine light. Now non-active cars on the other hand don't need anything extra, as the system is ready to bolt right up right out of the box. And speaking of bolting everything up, let's get into the install here as promised. And as mentioned earlier, this system will not involve any cutting or permanent modification. So soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. And to give you a better idea of how it all goes down, here is a detailed walkthrough along with a quick tool breakdown.
Now to begin the disassembly of our exhaust, we're going to use a 15mm socket on our impact gun and disconnect the clamps at the front of the exhaust that connect it to the catalytic converter pipes. Now we're just going to loosen up these 4 bolts and the clamps here. This way our entire exhaust will slide right out. Next, using a 13mm socket on our ratchet, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect our hangers from the rear of our vehicle. This way we can slide our entire exhaust out as one unit, but we're gonna do it with the help of a friend because we actually have our vehicle up on a lift, not down on the ground with jack stands where it would be a little bit easier to do it by yourself. Okay, using our 13mm, we're gonna go ahead and take out these two bolts here to disconnect our hangers. Next, we're gonna move up above the mufflers to get the two hangers that are up there. I'll show you those in a minute. Okay, moving back here to the rear, we have two bolts that have to come out of each hanger. Now we have one going up from the bottom and one coming in from the side. They still utilize a 13mm socket to remove these. So we're gonna go ahead and get these disconnected, and then we'll get the help of our friend to slide our whole exhaust out. Now there's one of these hangers on each side. All right, now we're ready to pull our exhaust out. We're gonna get the help of our other installer, Nick, to give me a hand. And we're just gonna unhook these from the cross member and slide the whole exhaust out as one piece. There we go. We're gonna begin our installation of our new catback exhaust by installing our H-pipe first into our factory clamps, and we're gonna support it using our screw jack until we get the rest of our pipes into place. This is simple, just slide both ends right into our original clamps that are still on our factory catalytic converter pipes. Now that our H-pipe is in place, we're gonna go ahead and get our mid-pipes installed. And when we install our mid-pipes, we're gonna use our hangers that connect to our factory cross member. Now we're gonna get those hung on there and go ahead and just bolt those into place, but we're not gonna tighten down our clamps to the very end. This way we can get everything adjusted accordingly. Now using the new supplied clamp that comes with the kit, our mid-pipes slide right onto the back of our H-pipe and hang from our factory hanger. Now just make sure you repeat this on both sides. Using our factory hangers, we'll slide that on, plus a new clamp supplied with the kit. We'll go ahead and slide that over our mid-pipe. We'll go ahead and hang this off of our factory hanger for now. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one in, and we're gonna put our hanger bolts on. Then, after that, we'll go through and we'll tighten up all the clamps and make sure our exhaust is nice and level and straight. Now that all our pipes are into place and our hangers are bolted down, we're gonna go ahead and start tightening up our clamps. But while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that all our pipes are level and even. That looks good right about there. All our pipes are in and tightened down. Our clamps are all tight. we have our hanger snug down. We can go ahead and move on to installing our tips. All right, now let's go ahead and get our tips installed. As you can see, we have our clamps installed on our tips already. We're just gonna go ahead and slide these over the pipes. Go ahead and line them up right where we want them. Yeah, looks good right there. Using your 11mm, go ahead and tighten them down. Now just follow the same process on the other side, and that'll tie up the rest of our exhaust. Now that ties up the installation of our AWE Track Edition exhaust for our 2018 Mustang GT. I hope that you got a lot of information out of this, and now you can do the exhaust yourself at home. For more parts and videos like these, make sure you visit us at AmericanMuscle.com.